Hi, welcome back to the channel. This week we're continuing on with the Track from Scratch series, and we're also continuing on with the Percussion. I did hope to get it all done in the one episode, which has already been published, but after watching that back, it's clear that there were quite a few things that I missed. And in hindsight, it was a bit optimistic to think that I could get it all done in 20 minutes or 30 minutes for that video. So let's get straight into it then. The first thing we want to do is actually what I started last time, and that was add another layer to the snare. So I started to do that, but then I got carried away and took it a bit too extreme. That will remain for a bit of variation later, but I still want just a bit of a mix up of a snare, just add a bit of groove. So this is what it turned into by accident with this one specifically. So it sounds good, I'm happy to keep it, but as I said, it wasn't what I had initially intended it to be. So let's duplicate the original snare, duplicate, rename, let's call this snare Ghost. Get rid of that MIDI, get rid of that MIDI. Let's just move this up to where we have a relatively blank scene arrangement. Let's put it next to the original snare because we need to have them both playing at the same time, but also with minimal hi-hats. So let's play this back. Now the first thing I'm going to do is delete this snare, and we're going to add a drum rack. Then once we've done that, let's go and find some samples. We want some snares. We were already using a 909 snare, so let's keep it that way. Snare 909. Let's choose this one. Put that in C1. Let's change the MIDI. Let's put this on C1, where you can see the snare down here. Let's just make this 4 bars so we can get a bit of proper groove going. Okay, so that's sounding quite good. It's a bit of groove. Let's just choose a couple more samples though, just to get a bit of more variation there. Put that one into there. So now I have that working. Let's add a bit of delay, just a 1/8 dotted. Sounds good. Let's put that before the reverb. Now with the full hats. Just a bit of envelope adjustments on the hats. Let's now add a crash. So let's now duplicate the snare. Anyone will do really. Let's move this one to the end. Rename this one crash. Again, let's use a scene which is relatively empty. Change this to, let's say 8 bar or 2 bars for now. Let's go to our samples. We do crash. We're going for something which is really kind of splashy, so let's play this one. That sounds perfect. So once we've chosen our sample, let's turn the EQ quite a bit more up. So we're just getting the really highs of that, otherwise it takes way too much energy. We do want reverb, so we currently have that there, but we want it to be a massive space. So let's go to our reverbs. Let's just change it to 1 while we're auditioning it. So that's sounding like what we want. Let's now change this to 16 because we only want it to come in every 16 bars. Let's duplicate this one again. We want this to be reverse. And here again, while we play with it, let's just change it to 2. Let's move this one to the end. So this will be the reverse noise sweep up into the crash. So let's go back to our samples, crash. Let's go audition a few more. What we're trying to find is, don't pay attention to the attack. You want a really splashy, long tail. So this one, for example. So you can hear the length of that tail, and it's really kind of long and, as I keep on saying, splashy. So once we have that, if we right click on the sample and do reverse sample, we currently can't hear anything because the sample is really quite long, so it's only playing where this marker is. So let's move the attack all the way up, or not all the way, but quite a bit way, and now you can start to hear it. So that's sounding quite good how we want it, but we want it to be, as I said, 16. And then we move this right to the end. We can speed up this moving by doing 8 bars, like so. We can maybe make this a bit longer. So that's 1 bar now is the MIDI. So now that we've done that, let's give a bit of subtle movement to the hats. So the closed hats, let's go to our audio effects, and then we're looking for a chorus here. So let's go for, they're in our modulation effects. So pitch and modulation, chorus and ensemble. Let's go for chorus classic maybe. Let's try that one. Let's put it before the delay because we want them to be delayed chorus, if that makes sense. Solo them. Obviously it's way too much on full, so let's turn that quite a bit down. That's sounding quite good. Let's duplicate that, and then we put that same one onto the open hat also. And then let's add a bit of cohesion to all of the percussion group. Let's by adding another reverb. Let's go to audio effects, reverb. Let's go for something like drums room. Ensure that it's 100% wet. And then we'll dial in the sends here from these percussion elements. So close that, let's do first. I'm just going to solo the percussion just while we hear it. The ghost snare gets a bit more than the main snare because the main snare has the dark room already on it. So does the ghost snare, but we want this one to be a bit more back in the mix. So there we go, that's percussion done. I'm quite confident this time that's actually it. I'm sure we'll come back and revisit a few elements, as always, going forward, once the track progresses. But for now, it's enough to get the basis of the track done. Next week, we'll move on to Atmos. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.